So I'm sitting here with my brothers.
8 or 10 years now. I think it's been every other Christmas in Memphis, at
Right.
least since I've been in DC, and it's just been some of our favorite weeks. Some of my family's favorite weeks. They love their cousins, they love their
Same.
uncles and their Aunt Becky, and of course their grandparents so much. And we just have a blast. And yeah, 6 years ago was when they released episode 7.
Right.
We watched all 6, had great discussions, as our family always does, about what order to watch them in. We watched all
Yes.
6, and then we went and watched number 7 together, and it was just magical. And we've rebooted movie franchise marathons every time we've gotten together ever since, and we've gone and seen episodes 8 and 9 every time we've gotten together, because
Right.
it's been every other Christmas.
Do you guys remember the order we watched them in?
Didn't we go
I
1 through 6?
I do. Seth, do you remember?
We did not go 1 through 6.
Well, then we just went 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3.
No, we did not.
Let me just keep guessing, and then
Yeah, keep guessing. There's a very specific reason that we did 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 6. The I am your father moment makes no sense if the viewer has seen 1, 2, and 3. And that moment isn't just an interesting story point. It was an iconic cultural moment, and has become one of the most, I mean, it's a top 3 most quoted line in other movies. Of course, part of why they loved 1, 2, and 3 is because they watched it with their cousins, and they saw it the way that was their first time to see it. Years before that, I watched my first movie marathon, and Seth, you remember what it was?
Yes, Rocky. Yes, of course.
We took a whole day to watch the 5 Rocky movies, and I remember being so excited, and then I remember loving it. Do you remember when that was over with, coming away with any meta Rocky thoughts?
As thrilling as that movie marathon was, and as much as I adored the Rockies, I actually didn't want them to make any more.
Because Tommy Gunn's performance was so poor?
When to call it quits? Like, I've always wrestled with, it's like, I just something about wanting to savor the integrity of the story and not kind of ruin it by adding to it unnecessarily. And so, yeah, it was just, I loved the Rockies so much and loved that experience so much. I actually walked away thinking, man, I would just love it if they just tied a bow on this thing.
Oh.
But,
yeah,
of course they didn't.
I remember, I thought it was about boxing. And that movie franchise, that marathon with you, I realized it's not about boxing. It's not a boxing movie. It's not a boxing franchise. It's a franchise about love and about marriage and about family, which reminds me of another movie that will become irrelevant after the votes are revealed tomorrow. But Fast and Furious, which has become one of my favorite franchises, not because I love fast cars, not even because I love, good guy, bad guy, crime or adventure movies. It's because of family and the way they become family together. Some people are sometimes surprised that I love the Fast and Furious movies, but it's because of that idea, which of course, I think about when I think of us, remembering that Rocky marathon with you, Seth, or thinking and treasuring the fact that our daughters and son, in Benson's case, their memories are being shaped and formed with family as they watch these stories play out. So sometimes I'll get to thinking we're wasting our time watching movies and TV programs and shows, and because there's better things in life than watching a screen. But the way Star Wars has, the role it's played in our family's memories and thinking back on that Rocky marathon is pretty.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there obviously are better things in life than watching a screen, right?
Yeah, of course.
That may be the defining sentence of the last 5 or 6, 10 years in our culture.
Right.
But there aren't many better things in life than being with your family, doing something that's fun and that you all enjoy. And, maybe it's better if that's somehow analog, a basketball game or playing cards or playing Monopoly or something. But when you're sitting in a big room and you're, Uncle David's popping popcorn in the other room and bringing it in every 15 minutes, or Harmony's cooking or kale chips. Yeah, or
Yeah.
Seth doing his kale chips or whatever. Seth, the girls brought up your kale chips the other day. We were talking about Asheville and how you
Oh
make
yeah.
kale chips.
Oh, Seth
Oh,
makes the greatest kale chips in the
and
world.
David makes the greatest popcorn, as the OCYG probably knows.
It
Already.
takes a little longer for Seth to make his kale chips.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that
it's a
way.
little
each one lovingly brushed.
Lovingly.
But I mean, it's when you're doing that with people that you love, and you're talking, and and you're sharing a human story, a story about family, or a story about a father who gets both of his legs and one of his hands cut off and then gets made into a robot, and several years later changes his face altogether.
Yeah.
Twice, as Darth Vader did, or may have been. Those are good times. We love them. Some precious memories for us. The Chronicles of Narnia were probably our first exposure to a beloved series of serious stories.
Yeah.
As the eldest son of Ron Rubio, I will be the one to step in and say that it's easily Dad's kind of core theology. I mean, he quotes from Narnia more than anything else. Such a foundational part of who Dad and Mom are, and who they were as parents, and who they are as Christians and as people. And that exposure was from very, very early on. Seth, I don't know if you remember that as well, but
especially the last battle, Dad just quotes it all the time.
Oh yeah.
There's no way to measure what kind of impact that his love of the Narnia stories would have had on his family. But the stories that we believe and the stories we tell ourselves change us. They make us who we are. So probably our own faith, current faith, and our journeys of faith have been just impacted in immeasurable ways by the fact of Dad's just vision of God as the lion. Is there a favorite moment for you from those stories?
I've only seen one of the movies, I think, or one or two at most. So in the movies, they didn't really resonate with me as much. They were fun. I love the story, of course. I don't know, the from the books, I guess. The last battle has probably always been my favorite of the books. That's probably right.
The would it be the final scene from the last battle? The farther on or farther in?
Farther in and farther up, or whatever it is. Yeah.
Mine has to be just from the OG Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, where he comes back. I mean, with the ropes being chewed off. But just I remember the moment that hit me of kind of what that meant, theologically, and just the coming back from the dead, and just it brought it to life, brought just in ways that I could never have imagined in my young mind that was still really forming in many ways what to believe and what to think. So it was, that definitely that moment.
Yeah, Dragon Edmund at the well too.
It's
always been
the peeling back of the scales. I from the moment for me would be the moment where Edmund faces Aslan after he's left. He's been the betrayer and the traitor, and that moment where Lewis describes the lion and Edmund talking, and no one gets to hear it.
Right.
And it's just
that's
the lion and his traitor. And they're talking about it as they watch this happen, and the insinuation is that you're not going to hear about it, and we're going to move on, and that person, and it's as if it never happened. And our dad was that for me. He was the one who, in fact, I just, for crazy reason, this story came up just the other day. I was in a BMG music club, and my, I got all these. I've thought
about this recently too.
I got all these cassette tapes for a penny, and then I kept getting these free cassettes in the mail, and I didn't realize that I was supposed to be returning the cassette tapes or telling them that I didn't want them. And they sent me a bill for $150, and I was like ninth grade or something. And I went to my dad, and I was just, I was terrified, and I was costing us all this money. They were, the company was like, we're going to sue you or take your money or whatever. And I remember my dad just saying, "I'll take care of it." And that was it, you know, and he could tell I was hurt, and he could tell I was sorry. And I said, you know, and he said, "I'll take care of it." And I never heard about it again. I never heard about it again. I didn't have to pay it. I don't know if he sent a, you know, hey, don't back off or I'll sick my lawyer on you kind of letter, which is just like our dad. By the way.
They may still be sending him letters today.
I don't know. I just remember him saying, "I'll take care of it. You know, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it."
Right.
And
it's an amazing moment. That book, and it's an amazing story. I think that's right.
And you know, stories like that, they change us. You know, he became the kind of man who could live the kind of life, and our mother too. It should be noted that while, you know, our dad's favorite movie to quote or books to quote are the Narnia Chronicles, our mom's favorite is probably the Bible. So, you know, both of them, they became these individuals who followed in those footsteps and just lived lives, you know, in our presence that were filled with the power of God at work through the cross and the tomb. And Narnia had a real role to play in that, I think.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Where does Tombstone rank in your favorite movies of all time? and I want you to tell our viewers how many times you saw it in the theater, and then are you glad they didn't make another Wyatt Earp, you know, novel, a prequel or something like that?
That's a great question, and yeah, I saw it 14 times, and the first one.
You went to the theater. You paid to see it 14 times.
Paid full price. 14
at the theater. You saw it 14 times. Oh.
Is Ghost Protocol your favorite?
I don't know. It's my favorite. I really like it though. One of my favorite scenes and memories of Mission Impossible is just the rock climbing at the very beginning of 2.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
It just goes downhill from there, literally and figuratively.
It's the high point of 2.
It's not my exactly. It's not my favorite. I love 3.
3's great. I mean, 3's Philip Seymour Hoffman is.
Oh my goodness.
That's one of the reasons I love it so much. That scene where she's being held hostage. David, I was watching that scene in your house back when I lived with you guys.
Kerry Russell,
No, his wife.
His wife.
Oh, yeah.
Taped over the mouth. Let's try not to spoil it for people because 3.
Yeah, we don't want to spoil it. It is one of the most intense, well acted scenes in my memory.
Every time, that's right.
Every time I sat in your living room, it was the first time I'd seen that scene, and I just was riveted. Like I could not. I was just. It wasn't even in a theater, you know. Typically, my moments like that are in a theater when it's just the whole, you know, by sheer, you know, being overwhelmed. You're kind of on the edge of your seat.
Yeah.
Quite literally, but no, I was sitting in that living room. I was just being amazed at the acting ability of Philip Seymour Hoffman and Tom Cruise together, and the chemistry on screen.
Yeah, they were great.
Oh,
I still love 1.
Oh yeah,
It's funny to watch 1 now. Some of the tech, some of the special effects is sort of laughably old in today's world. You know, I think at the time it didn't.
A floppy disk. I think they're floppy disk.
Internet searches to find
and the internet.
When he does the Job
316. What in the world is happening there? Right? He's got like 6 search engines he's trying, and then he finds her. It's just a dumb. There's just
in a chat room. A chat room. Yeah.
Right. And she's there waiting on him in the chat room to talk, you know.
I just wonder what John Woo would do with this, with like the video I'm going to edit. Like, how would he put our conversation about these movies together? My point being, his direction and the choices he made, I think, really hurts that movie. Because otherwise it's okay, but 1, 3, and 4, 5, and 6 are all so good.
Yeah.
3 is probably my favorite, and certainly Philip Seymour Hoffman is my favorite bad guy.
I didn't realize 7 and 8 are in the works. Apparently,
they are, and this is one where I'm just a little nervous.
Yeah,
David,
you're going too far.
That they're going to go too far. Yes, Seth.
David, do you remember the end of 6? How we sat there and we were in the theater.
Oh,
And
Yeah.
we timed it.
Yeah. Why
Like,
not just put
why
more
not
time on the
just put
timer?
more time, just put more time, or don't say, like, they always box themselves in.
Yeah.
Like, just
But it's so
I-
obvious that you can even in After Effects go back and adjust the clicks.
yes,
Why
yes.
why not just say we've 25 minutes? And because they say 10 minutes, I think, and it ends up being like 18 or something in real time. In movie time, not real time, movie time.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And of course, maybe only someone with a stopwatch is going to be keeping up with this. But we're the sons of a track coach.
That's what we do. Right.
That's what we do. It's in the same vein as, have you ever noticed that, please notice this, on any
I don't know. I mean, I might have noticed it. You got to ask it first.
when you're watching a Netflix series, when you're watching, I don't know if it's movies or if it's just TV series and seasons and shows. Whenever they're drinking a coffee, whenever there's a to-go like Starbucks cup,
Oh, it's empty.
always empty.
It's so
It's
frustrating.
Empty. It's
We
infuriating.
can tell it's empty.
It's so obvious. Why don't they just put some liquid in it?
Just put some liquid in it, or
don't
make
get
a cup that put some
Right. Has
glue
some
in it
weight.
or something. Yeah, something that dirt. Put something in it.
Right.
How is it that that's a thing? Like, I don't get it.
The worst. This is nowhere close to movie franchises, but Lloyd Braun's cup of coffee that he brings to Frank Costanza when Lloyd and George are selling computers out of Frank's garage, maybe the most obvious and worst example of that ever. What would the one seeds have been?
Yeah.
What were the four?
Back to the Future for sure.
Yeah, because Back to the Future 3 came out in 90.
Star Wars for sure.
Star Wars would, if do you include?
But the other three one seeds in the current bracket weren't around yet at that point.
Yeah,
right? Avengers,
that's right.
Harry
High
Potter,
School Musical, and Harry Potter.
How many of the top?
Rocky's got to be there, right?
I would think Rocky is there for sure, no question. Star Wars.
Maybe, Back to the Future is probably right.
Probably. When did The Last Crusade come out? I think it came out in '89. I think it would be Indiana Jones. I think Indiana Jones would have been a one seed if I'm right. I think I'm right that Back to the Future 3 came out in 90. And I think that Indiana Jones and Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade came out in '89. So I think it would be those four.
Temple of Doom.
Back to the Future, Jurassic Park. I'm sorry, not Jurassic Park. Jaws.
Like one was
that's an R, right? So that wouldn't be.
It is R. And of course, Godfather. If we're allowing R movies in, Godfather would have been there, I think.
Yeah.
Because I think by 90, Godfather 3 came out in '89, I think.
That's right. I think that's right. That's exactly right.
What did we say? Rocky, Star Wars, Back to the Future, Indiana
Jones. That may for a non-R.
Yeah.
I mean, for the bracket you got here, that might be it. That might be it. This has been a lot of fun. I really appreciate you asking me to join and getting to see you guys. Has been fun. The whole project's been fun for me, but I just miss you guys a lot, and wish I were in Nashville more often.
Yeah.
But thanks for doing this. This has been a blast. So much fun.
Absolutely.
Hug your families for me. Seth, hug your roommate, your tenant.
Love you guys.
Yeah, love y'all too. See you soon, or maybe not, but love y'all.
See you.
Bye.
Love you.